What is up, everybody? Here back in another YouTube video. In today's video, we'll be talking about a massive cool down across the US and the tropics that are heating up. Let's get right into this video. Alright, the first thing we're going to be talking about in this is this big cool down across a lot of the US here with this extreme massive area of extremely below average temperatures ranging across the southern, central, and eastern portions of the US, where we're seeing almost fall-like temperatures across the U.S. in a lot of these areas, including Arkansas, Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, in those really, really cool weather areas. It could be getting down to the 70s and maybe even lows in the 50s with these crazy cool temperatures. So get out there and get outside, as the weather is going to be extremely nice. It may heat up in the future, but man, this is just a great cool down that we are seeing across much of the eastern and central U.S., with the only areas not seeing this cool down is the northwestern U.S. and Washington, Montana, Oregon, and California regions. But wow, this is great. With this extreme cool down across the U.S., it is going to open the door for many big troughs across the U.S. that will cause more crazy weather that those troughs we see during March and February and all those months that causes severe weather, snowstorms, and big time wind events. Well, this will happen, but it's not going to be to that level specifically. We could see an uptrend in severe weather at some point with this fall severe weather, maybe across portions of the southern U.S. But this cool down is going to open the door for some troughs, and that will cause a huge cool down in the lows and possibly the 40s and 50s across the northern Midwest and the portions of the central U.S. regions. So absolutely crazy cool down across the U.S., and it's going to open the door to more fall-like temperatures as we transition from summer to fall-like weather across a lot of the U.S. and these regions here. Now, this does not mean we're going to just see fall weather from now on. We could see some more big heat ups up to the 90s in some areas in the central and southern U.S. and maybe even the western and eastern U.S. across the whole U.S., but it's just showing that it's not going to be consistently 80 degrees every day. Now we're going to be getting into this phase where some days could be highs in the 70s, some days could be highs all the way up to 90 degrees, and some days could even have highs only in the 60s. So it's going to be a big range as these troughs come through and cause cooler temperatures and warmer weather, but definitely with this extremely cool weather that we will have right now. I mean, look at these anomalies showing extremely below average temperatures across the central U.S. Get outside and have fun, because it's been a pretty hot summer, and this weather is going to show a lot of relief. So you can spend as much time as you want out there without feeling nasty with this just amazing cool down out here. That's probably going to last for weeks, maybe even through the end of August. It's looking like across the central and eastern U.S. Now, for the flash flooding side of things, we do have a slight risk of flash flooding in effect today across portions of Georgia and southern South Carolina and portions of the Panhandle of Florida regions from Jacksonville, Tallahassee, to Charleston, Savannah, Macon, and Augusta regions, where we are going to be seeing these summertime thunderstorms across these regions, but some of them could start to train over the same areas over and over again and will produce some heavy rainfall rates, as the PWAT, which basically stands for the precipitable water in the atmosphere in the clouds that can cause really heavy rainfall rates. So we are going to be seeing a lot of that out here. That means we could be seeing some high rainfall rates. So if we get rain to train over the same areas over and over again, they could cause some pretty hefty rainfall rates in these regions. So definitely be prepared as some flash flooding could be possible from now, as these storms are already occurring through the late afternoon to evening hours, as some flash flooding is possible today. Now, the last thing for the flash flooding we're going to take a look at is this massive slight risk of flash flooding in effect on day 3, which would be 2 days from now on Monday, across portions of Colorado into the northern panhandle of Texas and the panhandle of Oklahoma and all of Oklahoma and southern portions of Kansas and the northwestern or northeastern portion of New Mexico regions, where we could definitely see a big time rainfall episode here. I wouldn't even be surprised if this gets upgraded to a moderate risk of flash flooding. The reason I'm concerned about this flash flooding risk on day 3 is that the National Blend of Models is hinting at a huge surplus of rain across Colorado, New Mexico, northern Texas Panhandle to Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Kansas regions, where we could be seeing, this is the National Blend of Models, guys, showing a consistent region of 2 to 3, maybe even 4 or 5 inches of rain in some spots across these regions, where we could be seeing multiple training episodes of rainfall. And there could even be another episode of rainfall that comes in from Thursday to Friday into Saturday that causes even more rainfall in these areas. So I'm definitely pretty concerned about this. I wouldn't be surprised if some areas get upgraded to a moderate risk of flash flooding, as this could once we get closer, this could definitely become a big time flash flooding risk, especially over here in portions of those red areas that you do see with those really heavy rainfall rates. So stay safe out there. Now, if we get into the tropics here, we do have this tropical disturbance with a 100% chance of tropical development. This thing will probably become a tropical system today. It could potentially become a hurricane, but this is going to be a complete fish storm as it heads towards the north and just eventually goes out to sea. It won't be too long lasting, as due to the cold waters up north, it will eventually become post-tropical, but this thing could become a potential tropical system or a hurricane. The only area that could get impacts that doesn't need to be weather aware is Bermuda regions, but this thing is looking like currently it will miss borders of Bermuda. There could be some dangerous surf and high waves and rip currents there, and that's probably going to be the main risk across Bermuda, but right now it's looking like the system will mostly miss those areas, but it is pretty organized currently, and I do think this thing will probably become a tropical system today if it isn't already right now, but this thing was mostly going to head out to sea. Now, you also have this tropical disturbance with a 20% chance of tropical development, which is pretty low. It is starting to get a little bit more organized, and this thing could eventually head towards the Lesser Antilles regions. Right now, it is really uncertain of what this thing could do. The tropical environment is really not that favorable across these regions, really close towards the Lesser Antilles. So it could weaken and not even become a tropical system whatsoever. But if it can regain its ground, it could potentially become a tropical system across portions of the Caribbean Sea. And if it does become a tropical system in the Caribbean Sea, then it could become an explosive system, because the environment in the Caribbean Sea is explosive for tropical development. Really warm seas, no wind shear, nothing to really bring this system to be destroyed, basically. And if that does happen, it could potentially head towards the Central America or maybe even north towards the Gulf of Mexico and the US. Now, that's really uncertain right now, as this thing might not even develop into a tropical system. We will get more details once we get closer to this, but definitely we are paying attention to this system or what it could do in the future. All right, I hope everybody did enjoy this video. Make sure to like and subscribe to my channel. We are going to be seeing that huge cool down across a lot of the central US with some big relief. It's going to be really nice out there, so make sure to get outside and enjoy the weather out there, and some flash flooding risks today across the southeastern US and potentially even on Monday and Tuesday across portions of the Midwestern and the Great Plains regions with some big flash flooding, and then the tropics that are definitely there with that fish storm that could head out to sea there, kind of close to Bermuda regions, and that other disturbance that's really close to the Caribbean Sea. Right now, it's not looking like too much impacts with that storm towards the Caribbean Sea, but we definitely will be watching that system, as if it does develop, it could be a big time system. Hope you guys did enjoy this video, and bye everybody.